TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donation. Shalom Ve'erev Tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News Bulletin, broadcast from Jerusalem. The Islamic Republic of Iran is losing the war, having lost significant capabilities. The IDF announces its transition to Phase 2 of Operation Roaring Lion. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz tells President Donald Trump that Berlin supports Washington and Jerusalem against the Ayatollah regime in Tehran. The Islamic Republic of Iran is losing, with its military capabilities severely damaged, and while the IRGC continues to launch indiscriminate ballistic missiles towards Israel, Cyprus, and Gulf Arab nations, alongside other type of munitions, the Ayatollah regime's designated terror organization's offensive capabilities are significantly degrading.
America is winning, decisively, devastatingly, and without mercy. Under the direct command of President Trump, the War Department unleashed this operation early Saturday morning, just 4 days ago. Which means we need to remember two things. First, we are only 4 days into this. Metrics are shifting, dust is settling, and more forces are arriving. It's very early, and as President Trump has said, we will take all the time we need to make sure that we succeed.
Speaking alongside Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the U.S. military's chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, highlighted that as of this morning, Iran's theater ballistic missile shots fired are down 86% from the first day of fighting, with a 23% decrease just in the last 24 hours. Their one-way attack drones shots are down 73% from the opening days as well. This significant success comes as U.S. Central Command and the IDF are jointly degrading the IRGC's offensive capabilities in an unprecedented pace. Meanwhile, the IDF has announced that Phase 1 of Operation Roaring Lion is on the verge of conclusion and that Phase 2 of the operation would soon be implemented.
Today we will complete the first 100 hours of Operation Roaring Lion, thus completing the opening phase of the operation, a phase that included eliminating most of the regime's leadership, achieving air superiority over Iranian skies, and undermining and harming all of the regime's core values.
Brigadier General Defrin continued by stressing Israel's unceasing efforts to degrade the Ayatollah regime's offensive capabilities.
Overnight, the IDF completed a broad wave of attacks against the Iranian terrorist regime's fire and missile array. During the attack, Air Force fighter jets attacked more than 20 targets in Isfahan and Shiraz. This is an area where we are attacking for the first time since the start of the operation. In every compound and site deployed over a large area, as can now be seen, ballistic missiles and cruise missiles were deployed, some in underground tunnels. As part of the wave of attacks, we attacked 2 compounds where Qadr missiles were stored, an advanced ballistic missile capable of causing great and heavy damage to the home front. These are missiles that the regime used in Operation Rising Lion and also in the current Operation Roaring Lion. These missiles are considered a technological asset of the Iranian regime and one of the main capabilities for issuing attack plans against the State of Israel. We estimate that during the period, many dozens of ballistic missiles and cruise missiles were taken out of service, which posed a significant threat to the Israeli home front, as well as the countries of the entire region.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, accompanied by Defense Minister Israel Katz and IDF Chief of General Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, visited the Israel Air Force Air Base Palmachim, during the course of which the Israeli leader pledged to persist unyieldingly in degrading the Ayatollah regime and its capabilities.
I believe the entire nation of Israel must salute the important work you are doing, protecting the citizens of Israel while also striking the murderers and their dispatchers in Iran. We continue to strike Iran with great force. Our pilots are in the skies over Iran and Tehran, and also in the skies over Lebanon.
It is important to highlight that the Iranian proxy Hezbollah has stepped up its attacks against Israel's northern civilian communities as well.
Hezbollah made a very grave mistake when it attacked us. We have already responded with great force, and we will respond with even greater, additional force. The Lebanese government must understand, and the people of Lebanon must understand, that Hezbollah is dragging them into a war that is not theirs, solely because of the death of that mass murderer with whom they have no connection. They must look out for themselves, and they would be wise to do so quickly. We will continue to do what is necessary for our defense. We are on the 4th day of Operation Roaring Lion. We are roaring, and we are operating.
Since Hezbollah joined Iran's war, the IDF has ratcheted up its offensive activities against the terror group, attacking more than 300 targets. Moreover, the IDF relayed an ultimatum for Iranian soldiers operating in Lebanon to leave the country within 24 hours' time.
Overnight, the terrorist organization Hezbollah continued to harm the security of the citizens of the State of Israel and launched missiles towards the country's territory. We continue to deepen the harm to Hezbollah and to exact a heavy price from it for its decision to side with the Iranian regime. In preparation for another wave of attacks against the organization's infrastructure, we issued an evacuation notice to additional villages during the night for their protection. So far, within 48 hours, we have attacked more than 250 Hezbollah terrorist targets throughout Lebanon. Yesterday, we called on the Iranian regime soldiers operating in Lebanon to leave the country within 24 hours. I remind you, you don't have much time left. Get out of Lebanon, or we will attack you.
Returning to Washington, where U.S. President Donald Trump hosted German Chancellor Friedrich Merz at the White House.
We are on the same page in terms of getting this terrible regime in Tehran away, and we will talk about the day after, what will happen then if they are out.
And he's been helping us out, we've been very nice actually, and that is coming along, as you see, very well. They have no Navy, it's been knocked out. They have no Air Force, it's been knocked out. They have no air detection, that's been knocked out. Their radar has been knocked out. And just about everything's been knocked out.
President Trump further responded to a question on whether Israel dragged the United States into war amid recorded efforts by the Ayatollah regime, Russia, Turkey, Qatar, and other state actors to weaken the U.S.-Israel alliance.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people, people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, you know, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. I think and now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them.
President Trump also seized the opportunity to voice his anger with Spain and Britain over their refusal to allow the United States to utilize their bases for offensive operations against the Ayatollah regime in Iran, forcing U.S. aircraft to fly many more hours to complete their respective missions.
Some of the European nations have been helpful and some haven't. And I'm, very surprised. Germany's been great. He's been terrific. Others have been very good, terrific. I think that the head of NATO, Mark, is fantastic. Okay, Mark Rutte. I think he's fantastic. But some of the European, like Spain, has been terrible. In fact, I told Scott to cut off all dealings with Spain.
It is worth noting that Spain's defense minister, Margarita Robles, who is a member of the Marxist Spanish Socialist Workers' Party, boasted to the press over her country's decision to deny the United States from using Spanish airfields, adopting the narrative promoted by the Ayatollah regime, Russia, and China that the United States campaign against the Islamic Republic was in breach of international law.
The
bases in Morón de la Frontera and Rota have not provided any assistance whatsoever, absolutely none, to this action, to these attacks that are being carried out on the bases. It is true that there is an agreement with the United States, but we understand that this agreement must operate within the framework of international law. There must be international protection in whatever sphere so that these actions can be carried out.
According to senior Spanish practitioners who spoke to TV7, the move by the Spanish government comes at a time when the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, is facing political distress, with corruption scandals within his inner circles, to include his own brother and wife, have triggered his efforts to secure support from the radical left and Islamist voters, even at the expense of Spain's own strategic and national security interests.